Okay, so we've got a proof question here. I think this was a very tricky question. So we'll take it nice and slow and see how you could go about it. These term numbers, I would call the n numbers, n equals 1, n equals 2, n equals 3. And I'm just going to look at those sequences and just write down, I'm going to write them down because it helps me think what's going on, what's changing and what's staying the same. Well, if you look at the numerator, we've got this 1 times by 2, 2 times by 2, that's always changing. But the denominator is always 2, so I'm going to keep it as 2. Right now, how do I write in terms of n what's going on? Well, let's choose n equals 1 and start writing down that first term of the sequence, 1 times by 2. So if n equals 1, I can say that n, okay, I'm going to write this 1 times by 2 over 2, so that's going to be n multiplied by n plus 1, that's 1 and 2, all over 2, that doesn't change. I'm going to add it on to the next term. Now if n equals 1, then I want now to write 2 times by 3 over 2, that's going to be n plus 1 times by n plus 2 all over 2. So these are the two fractions I need to add together to get some kind of sense out of this question. So let's tidy that up. So it's both over 2, that's good. N squared plus n. And multiply this bracket out, what I've got n squared plus 2n plus 1n is 3n plus 2. If I tidy that up a little bit more, I've got 2n squared plus 4n plus 2 all over 2. Now they're all even numbers, so I can divide through by that 2. That's going to be n squared plus 2n plus 1. And that can be written as n plus 1 all squared, because n plus 1 times by n plus 1 equals n squared plus 2n plus 1. And I can see that n plus 1 all squared is a square number. So if n equals 1 and I add it to the next term, I'm going to get 2 squared. If I said n equaled 2 and multiplied and I added on the next term, I would get 2 plus 1, I'd get 3 squared. And if you just try that out, you'll see that actually is what happens. Okay, so since n plus 1 squared is a square number, okay, then we have proven the claim. Okay, if you add consecutive terms, you get a square number. Just remember, consecutive is a posh word for saying the next one. Okay. Right. Do pause, have a good read. As I say, I think that was a pretty hard question. If you got that in the exam, I'd probably do that for a few minutes. If I get stuck, then I'm just going to move straight to the next question and come back to that when I've got more time. Okay. And there's the mark scheme.